Welcome to a milk market tidbit for the January milk production report that USDA released yesterday. This is Dr. Lawrence Jones, and I'm recording this on Thursday, February 22nd. I just needed a little time to think about this whole thing. So we get the milk production report, and that's going to be followed up with the cold storage report tomorrow, actually, on Friday. And then later in the month, we're going to get the dairy products report, and that pulls everything together nicely for January. So the big news is cow numbers just absolutely dropping. And when I look at all of this data, I approach it from a different perspective. I look at it, say, is behavior changing, and is there anything strange about the data that I can't explain? So when I look at this graph, it tells me we're just absolutely crashing in cow numbers. So I started looking into this just a little bit. First thing that you always think about is slaughter numbers. And we've seen just a significant change in slaughter numbers over the last period of time that would suggest this kind of a drop. And I can tell you that this does not support that. Yes, we've been up at 60,000 for these last three sessions, and that's including the one ending on the February 10th. But this has been generally a downward trend for most of the year. The problem I'm having right now is we got the cattle inventory report back on the 31st, and this is a very in-depth survey compared to the milk production report. So I just kind of asked myself, how did the numbers that came out today kind of line up with that cattle inventory report? Because last month I told you they seemed to come out pretty good. So what we have is a year ago about 9,397,000, and this year about 9,356,000. We've dropped off about 40,000 cows. However, the revised milk production report has the December numbers down to 9,348,000, 8,000 below what we had in that in-depth survey. So in fact, what they did is they went back and they actually lowered milk cows all the way for the year. So then kind of the question is, if we lost 50,000, this is only the top 24 states. So we went from 8.9 to 8.973. Where did those cows go? Because you look at Arizona was up, Colorado was down a little, California was down a little. You know, it's just kind of a potpourri of things. But when you start looking at it, New Mexico supposedly lost 42,000 cows, and Texas lost another 15. So right there, 65,000 cows. So this is going to say that all of these cow numbers that are down have all come out of New Mexico and Texas. And so does that make sense? Does it make sense to the rumors we've been hearing about people wanting to leave New Mexico? But when we look at the federal milk marketing data, again, New Mexico and Texas are all in the same federal order, Order 126. They were actually up about 4% month over month, which was a bit of a surprise. So then I went and actually did that in-depth analysis that we've talked about for an order, and I picked Order 126. So right now they're depooling all of their class 4 milk. There's less than, 200,000 pounds going into class 4. They've got a capacity about 18 and a half somewhere into here, and you can see where the depooling has happened. Now generally should not be depooling class 3, and they were at 21.6. Last January they were like 22.5. Not a significant difference. They probably have a capacity around 25. So again, they may be off of that a little bit, but even in January of last year, they were off that a little bit. So here's our daily production for the nation. And so it came in a little bit below the seasonally adjusted number. Again, we thought it would be up about 2% month over month. That's what USDA typically is. It was up 1.4%, which is actually not very much. That comes into about 3.3 million pounds a day, which is a very, very small fraction of the total milk produced. So in fact, it was down a little bit, but it was up month over month, which it says, basically the behavior of the industry is exactly as expected. When we look at milk per cow, this came in just slightly below the seasonally adjusted number. And a lot of this stuff I still think is coming into a new paradigm, where we've been increasing for a really long time, and now we've just kind of flattened out because you just can't keep growing at 1% per year, forever, because we started out clear down here at 61 pounds and we're clear up here to 67 or something like that now. And so I think some of these paradigms are kind of changing. The global dairy trade auction that day was actually up just a fraction of a percent. So here we had the milk production report. Here in a few minutes we're going to have the National Dairy Sales Report with the advanced prices, which will actually give us an idea of if prices are headed up or not, because the futures are clearly up at the moment, but I suspect that's a little bit of short covering. And then we're going to have the cold storage report on Friday.